looking at the topics that you have there in your syllabus. So this is the next set of topics. You just have to match the contents of this material into these topics in here. Okay, you can remember I also told you that there are topics after our electrochemical energy from electrochemical cells. You also have the sources of energy there. So this actually will be assigned to you guys, okay? You are already in college, so you have to be responsible in attending to the many lessons that are part of our coverage, and yet we cannot anymore discuss. We have to set a higher priority to the next one. Anyway, the nuclear energy is not so much of high priority here because in the Philippines, we don't have any nuclear energy. We don't have any facility for producing the nuclear energy. We don't have nuclear reactors, considering that the country is not ready. So there's the issue of readiness. Because, okay, even if in Japan, wait guys.
Siguro na'y wala nang natira sa mga sinulat mo na pag sa akin. Alam ko mukha ang pumupura, ngunit hayaan mo lang. Parang saysay ang panalangin ko, kung hindi ako ang hanap.
Hello, sorry for that. I just checked on something. What I was saying, if you know that Japan has a numerous nuclear reactors there, they have been using the energy from these nuclear facilities, and yet when if you can remember during the earthquake in year 2011, okay, during that earthquake, the nuclear facility happened to be, of course, it was shaken, and it happened to be a threat to a lot of people near the facility. So these people were actually evacuated. They were relocated to some other safe places. Now, it's good for Japan and other advanced countries with these forms of facilities because they have the money to relocate. They have the resources to relocate their people. But with the Philippines, it's still premature for us to be engaged in the production of this energy from nuclear reactors. Okay, so we set higher priority for the fuels and combustion. So take note of those topics: introduction to fuels, properties of fuel oil, coal and gas. Then we have principles of combustion. You have the passage in here: fuels and combustion. Fuels take many forms: solid, liquid, and gas. Fuels are combustible materials obtainable in bulk, which produce by proper combustion in air large amount of heat that can be used economically for domestic and industrial purposes. Chemical or conventional fuels as defined release their chemical energy by combustion reactions, whereas nuclear fuels release staggering amounts of energy in a very short time interval by fission or fusion of nuclei atoms. I have just talked about this one, but this is part of your coverage. The various types of fuels are available for firing in boilers, furnaces, and other combustion equipments. The selection of right type depends on various factors such as availability, storage, handling, pollution, and landed cost of fuel. The knowledge of the fuel properties helps in selecting the appropriate kind of fuel on purpose and efficiency. Okay, guys? So we have many fuels nowadays. Now, if you go to tall buildings, residential buildings, the condominiums, okay, if you live in these buildings, you have to adhere to one of their regulations. There must be no open flame. So it's either electrical energy or other forms of energy because of the danger of fires, you know. Okay? So it's important that you should also have the knowledge about how these fuels will be combusted. Can they be controlled? Can they be combusted in a way that everything will be put securely?
Nag-open ka bang uban?
Okay, guys? So, for the outcomes, okay, you can match it with the learning objectives, learning competencies, learning outcomes that you have in your syllabus. When you have completed this chapter, you will be able to understand by differentiating the sources and occurrences, properties, and classifications of fuels. Then, identify the basic components of the different types of fuels and their properties. Illustrate the differences of fuel quality on the categories, such as nature of fuel, efficiency, combustion, and amount of heat liberated. Explain the detailed process and products of crude oil refining, and state the different classes of hydrocarbons derived from crude oil refining. Okay, so quite a lot of specific topics. However, all of these are actually manageable in your end. Okay, so I have here a passage for petroleum. Okay. Do you understand what is petroleum?
Ikaw lagi yung tun. Nahiwi yung...
Does anybody know about petroleum?
Ina daw.
Petroleum mo na, para gasolina.
Hello?
Excuse me, miss.
Okay, yes?
Imong readings, miss, kaya nahiwi. Di mabasa.
It's okay. I am going to fix it. Ma'am, good afternoon. There's something wrong with my camera. Sige ha. Ikuan ang camera ha. Ipaayo jud ta ha. Technical fixing. Okay. Fractional distillation of petroleum. Okay. I have written here on the chat, guys. Kindly check. It's fractional distillation of petroleum. Okay, so you copy that, put it on your notebook, and make sure to spend time reading about this important topic. And not only your fractional distillation, also the other topics that you can have, you can find here. Okay, so petroleum, guys. Anybody who knows what petroleum is?
Nilit yun ang para sa...
Isa may nakahibaw, be.
Para sa Finland.
Ako,
It's a man. Let me see. Who has even just a little knowledge about what petroleum is?
even.
Yes. It's a man.
I think it is kanang oil, crude oil,
Crude oil.
or any oil.
Brilliant job, Bell. Okay. Who else? Crude oil. Isa pa. Yes. Go ahead.
Makita sa ilam sa yuta.
Okay, makita sa ilam sa'yo. Murag tubig. Sige, sige. Ha?
Binis.
What else? Ha? Clarence?
Lamis, mawara to.
Kung sa tayo ngayon, makita sa ilam sa yuta. Sige. Say it in English, please.
And it is found beneath the earth surface.
Okay, sige. Miss we have a guy here. Montalvo. What? First name? Joseph? What's your answer?
Yes, miss. Some of its use is with transportation. Kanang gasolina sa sakyanan.
Okay, sige, sige. At least you have, thank you for that, ha? Thank you to all of you. Sige, at least you have the knowledge, ha? Okay. Any fuel that you have, what you have at home? Kuan, LPG?
Yes, miss.
Okay.
Yes, miss.
Okay, very good. You notice that. That is a product of fractional distillation of petroleum. So the natural resource is petroleum, which is being extracted from the underneath. Okay? Underneath the earth. Okay? Sa ilaw. Okay? So, we also have the fuels for the vehicles, the diesel, the gasoline.
Petroleum jelly.
What else do you have? However, we have vehicles already nowadays, like, the EVs, electric vehicles. So they are not anymore fueled by, this petroleum products. Okay, sige. We will continue.
Sabado, 1 hour na lang ito.
Okay, petroleum. Okay, liquid geologically extracted hydrocarbons are referred to as petroleum. Literally, it's the rock oil or mineral oil, while gaseous geologic hydrocarbons are referred to as natural gas. All significant sources of fuel and raw materials as a feedstock for the production of organic chemicals are commonly found in the Earth's subsurface using the tools of petroleum geology. Oil reserves in sedimentary rocks are the principal source of hydrocarbons for the energy, transport, and petrochemical industries. Hydrocarbons are of prime economic importance because they encompass the constituents of the major fossil fuels. Okay, so that is for our introduction. Then you will read the introduction to organic chemistry, guys. It's about carbon and its compounds. Okay, you have here carbon forms so many compounds that chemistry is a special branch of chemistry. It is called organic chemistry. Okay, so you will not actually be studying here in detail. It's only to give you a little of the introduction because we are into fuels. Organic molecules contain both carbon and hydrogen. Though many organic chemicals also contain other elements, it is the carbon-hydrogen bond that defines them as organic. Organic chemistry defines life. There are millions of different organic molecules, each with different chemical and physical properties. The diversity of organic chemicals is due to the versatility of the carbon atom. Why is carbon such a special element? Okay, you have to look at it in more detail. So you studied this one, huh? Hydrocarbons. Okay. Meaning to say, hydrocarbons, they are compounds containing only the elements hydrogen and carbon. No other elements, guys, okay? Only hydrogen and carbon in repeating units. Okay, now we actually talking about the fuels. We have here basically the alkanes. Okay, in all of the structures in here, you only have single bonds, and you have the alkenes. There is at least a double bond, and then we have here the alkynes. It says here, for the alkenes, you have saturated, all single bonds, and then we have an example here, which is propane. For the alkenes, you have unsaturated, considering that it already has a double bond, at least one double bond. An example here is propene. So notice the name from propane. Now that it has a double bond, it becomes propene. And then we have the alkynes here. It contains already the triple bond. And the name of the example is propine. So from propane, with now double bond, you have propene. And last, containing the triple bond, that is now propine. Okay, guys? Then you move on to the classification of fuels. Okay, you read this and this. Okay, and then move on to the properties of your fuels. Okay, kaya ninyo studyhan. You can have the references here. Question? Question, guys? Okay. I will stop presenting this now because I will be talking to you about this. Where are they? about the three, the alkanes, the alkenes, and alkynes. Question? Okay, anyway, I will be sending this to you after our meet. Stop presenting ko, guys, ha? Okay. Sige. Okay. I will get your attendance first. Kaya ang upan, good. Musud. Inig. Hapit na mag-end. Ang meet. Ang uban, musud, primero. Because I'm monitoring the number of participants. Okay. Fossil fuel, ma'am. Yes, fossil fuel. Okay, very good. Sige ha. It's good that you already have the knowledge.